Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I'm ready.
Canadian Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call the station for a voice check.
Station, this is the Canadian Space Agency. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How me?
Great. Bonjour, David. As you know, during your mission, we invited Canadians aged 9 and up to enter the Wanted Creative Writers Contest and write a children's story with a space theme. Plus de 600 candidatures ont été reçues.
More than 600 candidates tried and have sent stories, and 6 stories were published on our website.
From space. David répondra ensuite aux questions qui nous ont été.
Then you will answer the question that was sent by the authors of the stories.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Thank you very much.
So the first story was written by Fumaria Laurais, and it is called Space Day. Are you ready for Space Day? Space Day. Hunter jumped out of bed excited. Today, he was finally going to space. School was closed, so he had all day to explore space. His parents called it a snow day. He called it a space day. As he changed out of his PJs, he woke up Rex the dragon, Troy the wolf, and Sam the snake. I can't wait to go to space, Rex said. Me too, Troy agreed. Sam didn't look very happy. I was dreaming of a big, fat, juicy rat, he sighed. After breakfast, Hunter put on his spacesuit, space boots, space gloves, and space helmet. Hunter couldn't find a spacesuit small enough for Rex or Troy, but he made one for Sam out of an old sock. He helped Sam into his spacesuit and gave his friends their space helmets. Now we're ready to go, he said, and opened the door to the outside. Hunter's rocket took 5 days to build, along with the launch pad. It stood next to his slide, ready to fly. Before he climbed into his rocket, Hunter untied the rope that held it down. This way, we won't lose our way back to the rocket, he explained. Hunter, Rex, Troy, and Sam climbed into the rocket, fastened their seatbelts, and the countdown started. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and blast off! Look at all the stars, said Troy, his nose pressed against the window. Rex, Sam, and Troy watched the stars go by as Hunter steered the rocket. Our first stop is Mars, he cheered. It took a long time to reach Mars, but Hunter, Rex, Troy, and Sam finally landed on Mars. Oop. And here they are. As they got out, Hunter tied one end of the rope around the rocket and the other around him. Sam slithered across the planet's rocky surface, while Rex, Troy, and Hunter bounced, leaped, and jumped. Come on, Sam, Rex called as he leaped over a pile of rocks. No legs, Sam grumbled as he zigzagged over the rocks. I'll help you, Troy said, and picked up Sam gently with his teeth. Hey, put me down, Troy. Do I look like your chew toy? Sam yelled, finding himself in Troy's mouth. Hunter laughed and took Sam out of Troy's mouth. Troy was just trying to help carry you, he explained, and then set Sam on Troy's back. Humph, said Sam, but he stayed on Troy's back. Look at all these cool rocks, said Hunter, picking up a couple. The rocks were a red-orange shade and were different shapes and sizes. Let's build a castle, Rex said, rolling some rocks into a pile. Sure, Hunter agreed, and they all started to build. Finished, said Troy, placing the last rock on top. The castle was taller than Hunter, so Troy had to jump to place the rock on top. As he landed, there was a sudden rumbling noise. Are you guys hungry? Hunter asked his friends. They all shook their heads. Suddenly, rocks started falling from the sky. Run to the rocket! Hunter yelled, and they all started running. When they got out to the rocket, it had already a few holes in it. They climbed in, and Hunter flew the rocket away from Mars as fast as he could. The rocket's gonna break up, Sam yelled as the sides of the rocket started falling apart. Almost there, Hunter yelled as he started to see Earth again. We can make it! The rocket entered Earth, and they all cheered. And then, boom, the rocket fell apart. They all yelled as if they fell out of the rocket. Hunter grabbed his friends and stuffed them into his pockets. He landed in a soft pile of snow next to the slide. Are you guys all right? He asked his friends. We should do that again, Rex replied. And just then, Hunter's mom came out of the house and said, It's time to come in. It's starting to hail. Hunter replied, It's not hail, it's a meteor shower, and then ran inside to tell his parents all about his adventure.
It's fantastic, David. I think you have some practice telling stories. So you can go right ahead and read the second story, Pluto, the Dwarf Planet.
Okay, the second story, Pluto, the Dwarf Planet, by Sarah Alphahead. One day, Pluto heard that he wasn't a planet anymore. He was a dwarf planet. The difference between a planet and a dwarf planet is that a dwarf planet has other objects around its orbit. Even though it's a slight difference, the other planets made fun of poor Pluto. Pluto had an idea. He tried being the Saturn. And just maybe he would be a planet again. He had always admired Saturn's nice ice rings. But Pluto didn't have the gravitational pull of Saturn, so he can't make rings. So then he continued. Pluto had another great idea. He could try being big like Jupiter. And just maybe he would be a planet again. Pluto didn't have the same gas and materials to be as big and strong as Jupiter. So he carried on. Pluto had another great idea. He would try being as colorful as Uranus, and maybe, just maybe, he could be a planet again. But Pluto doesn't have the chemicals and gas that make Uranus colorful, so he can't be like Uranus. Pluto had another great idea. He tried to be as hot as Mercury, and maybe, just maybe, he would be able to be a planet once again. But Pluto isn't as close to the sun as Mercury is, so it couldn't be as hot as Mercury. Pluto had other ideas, but none of them succeeded. He tried being Neptune, Mars, even Earth and Venus, but he just couldn't. The sun saw him try so very hard to be a planet once again. He called Pluto to say something important. Pluto, you keep trying to be others because you think you're special. They're special. But you are special too. You can't be the others, and the others can't be you. Short, tall, colorful or not, you are you, and everyone else is themselves, said the sun. Pluto realized that the sun was right, and he is special the way he is. Pluto is unique, and he matters just like everyone else. Pluto is happy he's the way he is now. He's doing great as a dwarf planet.
Merci beaucoup, David. On va passer à la
David,
question.
we are going to start with the question, and the first question was sent by Tamara.
Pourquoi aimez-vous la nourriture russe?
Why do you like Russian cuisine, and how physically and mentally important is mealtime in space?
Ah, la nourriture russe. Oui.
Russian cuisine, yes. Well, on board there is food from many countries, American, Russian, Japanese, European, and even Canadian. I like Russian cuisine because it reminds me the time I spent in Russia to try to pilot the Soyuz and the friends I have there. And Russian cuisine is like Russia, is a mixture of culture, European, Eurasian, Asian. I like that. And it's also a cuisine from cold country, and this is what Canadian like, and I have examples here that I like for lunch. There is this kind of thick yogurt. It's dehydrated, and we add water, and it's very nutritious, and it's very good with nuts. Otherwise, there is also the Russian bread like this. I love this. And then a lot of course, canned food. A lot of different kinds of fish. It's like stews, mixtures of meat and veggies. Like it's like winter food and from cold countries, very nutritious. And we exchange the food among astronauts and food from different countries. Thank you. Next question was sent by Chloe. What is the most surprising thing about space that you had not anticipated before starting your mission? Chloe, I was expected coming here that it would be impressive to look at Earth, but I didn't have any idea how impressive it was. And after 6 months, every time I look through the window, I'm mesmerized. The first time I saw Earth from space, we were in the we arrived in orbit. We stopped the engines. It was the night time, and we couldn't see anything. And then we saw the horizon, and the sun started rising, and the color changed from blue to orange. And it touched me so much that every time I close my eyes, I shiver. And every time I see the sunset and the sunrise, and we see it 16 times a day, I'm surprised every time how much Earth is alive. We see that it's breathing. There are storms. You see the oceans, the currents, and this little layer of atmosphere. And the Earth is shining, and it's like a light, and I'm always impressed by that.
Now the next question is from Laura.
What do you think is the most important message that a child should receive from a story?
Well, I think all stories really matter because they carry some kind of lesson or some kind of message. They're just, a roundabout way to put through a moral lesson, usually, and to help children reflect about how they behave, reflect about what's good, what's not so good, and kind of get a lesson about life that way, in a fun way, in a way that comes with a story. I think that's the point of most stories, is to teach people something about life.
Thanks, David. The next question was sent by Famaria.
From launch to the ISS, does the capsule pilot at any time have control of the flight instruments, or is the craft flown by mission control on the ground?
That's a good question. And actually, it's really neither. The Soyuz spacecraft has got a computer, and that computer flies the rocket. It's completely automated. There's a program for every step, from the launch to orbital insertion, then it finds station, then it orients itself, then it gets closer, and eventually docks. But all that process that's automated, our job as the crew is to monitor it, to check it. So we spend all that time checking everything that's going on in the systems, making sure everything is happening on time, the right way, and we are always ready to take over. So if the autopilot fails, if you want, then the astronauts on board are fully trained to take over control And it can happen at any phase of the space flight. All the way to the very last minute, we can take over to do the docking. And mission control on the ground, their job is to advise us if we have questions. And they also keep an eye on the process of the automated approach and docking.
Passons maintenant à la question d'Ariane.
Next question from Ariane. I have noticed that you interact a lot with people on Earth. For example, I've seen that you answer questions to participants from the Robotic Festival first in Quebec. What drives you to do this? I like to share my experience because it's unique. Things that I love from space, I love to speak about it. And I always try to, it really touches me to see how people are interested to see the perspective from space. We see Earth as a whole, one unique boat for people. So, of course, we see that the tensions among countries and politics, it will always be like this. But space is the proof that we can work together. We collaborate on board. We work together. And if we put our differences aside, we can do fantastic things. And of course, there is the environment. We are responsible to keep it alive and well. And that's an important message to send. And I see that people are very sensitive to these two particular questions, the globalization and the environment.
What kept you motivated to get to where you are in your career?
Well, it was mostly that I was having fun. And I was having fun because I've always been guided by a dream. And I think a dream is your best friend and your best guide. My dream as a child was crazy. My crazy dream was that I dreamt that I would try to understand everything. Of course, it's impossible, but I'm going to try. And that led me to want to understand where I live, where we are, what is our planet, what is our world. And when I saw these images of the Earth seen from space, it really shocked me. Like, wow, this is reality. And how does someone take a picture like that? Someone has to leave Earth. How do you do that? How do you become an explorer? How do you become a scientist? How do you become someone who can go on a mission? And that motivated me to always try to, stay fit and learn more, keep going to school, and go on adventures and take responsibilities and slowly become a trustworthy person who can embark on a mission. So my motivation has always been that it's fun to discover. It's fun to understand more. It's fun to learn. It's fun to expand your horizons and to expand the bubble of your consciousness, if you want, to expand your perspective. And it is interesting, and you may meet great people along the way. I think it's just a nice way to use your time on Earth.
Or off Earth, I guess. La prochaine question.
Next question, and the last one, from Guillaume. Are you eager to take a bath or shower, and will you be sad when you see the water going down the drain without being immediately filtered and treated to be reused? Should we promote such water recovery systems on Earth? Yes, the problem of recovering the water is a big issue. But you see, Earth itself is a fantastic recycling machine. If you look at pictures of Earth from space, there is no new water coming. There is no new air either. It's constantly recycled. Every water, every air, all the water is constantly recycled. And here in space, we have a machine that is trying to recycle as well as Earth is doing, although it does not. But there are things that Earth cannot recycle. If we pay attention and use recyclable and biodegradable things, then Earth will do the cleaning. But of course, we cannot throw toxic waste away. So yes, the humans have to be wiser and stop using resources that are not recyclable so that we can give to our children a planet that is permanent with the recycling loop that we have, and so that we can preserve the earth. So thank you, David, and we wish you the best for your way back on Earth. Thank you, everyone.
This is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, Canadian Space Agency and participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.